They don't make you angry. They invite you to forget who you are. Most of us accept that invitation in under 3 seconds. By the time we notice, we've handed the keys of our day to a stranger's tone, a colleague's slight, an algorithm's bait. Stay with me. By the end of this film, you'll have a way to take those keys back, under pressure in public when it counts, and a single line you can speak to yourself that ends the invitation before it begins. We'll circle back to that line when you can feel its weight. A brief word before we sail. What follows is education in the old sense, training the mind to see clearly and act steadily. It is not medical, legal, or individualized advice. If your situation involves trauma, danger, or specialized risk, bring experts into your crew. Philosophy is a compass. It doesn't replace a map, a medic, or the Coast Guard. Why this matters now is embarrassingly simple. Outrage is monetized. Your attention is auctioned. The world has learned to pull the fire alarm in your chest because an alarmed mind scrolls longer, buys faster, and fights strangers as if they were neighbors. But you still have the oldest technology on earth, a faculty of choice. The ancient Stoics organized life around it, not the choice of what happens, that is, weather and gravity, but the choice of what to make of it and what to do next. When people hear this, they think it means becoming numb. It doesn't. It means becoming a good captain in bad water. Let's pull a misconception out of the drain. Stoicism is not emotional taxidermy. It doesn't stuff feelings and mount them on a wall. It teaches that events are outside, judgments are inside, and the bridge between them is habit. The body surges, the heart kicks. That first flash of heat when you're insulted, that's automatic. The art starts one beat later when you decide whether to pour fuel or water on the spark. Many modern summaries skip this nuance and imply omnipotence over chemistry. The ancients never promised that. They promised training, and the training is tangible. Begin with first principles. Divide the world into 3 zones: what is yours, what is not yours, and the fog between. Your opinions, your intentions, the use you make of your time and attention, these are yours. The weather, the markets, other people's moods and memories, these are not. In the middle lives everything you can influence but not command. Health you can steward but not guarantee. A reputation you can earn but never own. Outcomes you can shape but never seal. The mistake that ruins days is treating the second and third zones like the first. The antidote is to return to your helm each time you drift. Picture a mirror hung in a stormproof frame. The mirror is your faculty of judgment. It does not control what stands before it, but it does control what it reflects and for how long. You can choose to hold an image until it burns itself into the glass, or you can let the image pass and polish the surface. That polishing, naming what is yours and what is not, selecting a response instead of ejecting one, is the daily discipline of Stoicism. It is mundane and difficult and utterly liberating. This becomes real when we put it on a face. I'll begin with a downfall, the kind you can prevent. Call him David. He leads a construction project with money, materials, and patience all running thin. In the status meeting, a senior stakeholder interrupts him and dismisses his plan as amateur hour. The room tightens. David's scalp prickles. Before the next breath, he answers loud and hot, and now they are playing the game of dominance, not the game of delivery. The rest of the session is theater. Later, an email thread blooms like mold. Screenshots, COCs, the cold politeness of people positioning themselves for the post-mortem. David feels wronged, and he is, but his outburst made him legible as a problem instead of a solution. If we slow the tape at the moment of impact, we see the storm touch two pieces of his mind, the part that imagines respect and the part that acts. The first part took the hit. The second didn't have to. A Stoic response is not silence for its own sake. It is direction. He could have paused for a breath, asked one clarifying question to surface the real constraint, and moved the conversation back to the field of control. Let me restate the objective and the risks we can price today. We can argue taste, or we can schedule mitigations. It is not about being nice. It is about staying in the arena where leverage lives. If that sounds Machiavellian, good. Sometimes survival requires understanding the cold geometry of power. Losing your temper is losing leverage. Rage is a signal flare that says, I can be steered from outside. In organizations, composure is not only virtue, it is tactic. The goal is not to suppress what you feel. The goal is to deny your adversary the steering wheel. This is why Stoic calm pairs so well with real-world boundaries. Written scopes, documented decisions, questions that move heat back to facts. Calm without boundaries is passivity. Boundaries without calm are warfare. Together, they are agency. So how do we train it? Begin where the body begins. When hit with provocation, most people hold their breath and shrink their vision to a narrow tunnel. Do the opposite. Breathe low and slow. Let your eye line widen and label the feeling under one plain word. Anger, embarrassment, fear. This is not therapy speak. It is neurological housekeeping. Naming a state reduces its chaos. Then do the simplest trick the ancients taught and modern science re-verified. Add a pause. Between the event and your reply, insert one beat of ownership. In that beat, ask two brief questions. What is mine here? What result do I want 12 hours from now? The answer moves you from reflex to strategy. There's a companion principle that saves friendships and careers. Stop assuming others will behave like you. The expectation that people will follow your internal code is the railroad to resentment. People act from their nature, their fears, their incentives, their fatigue. That does not excuse cruelty. It explains predictably human messiness. Decide once that your peace will not hinge on someone else meeting an internal standard they don't share. Decide also that your boundaries will be clear and unshakable when their behavior crosses into harm. Authority over your reaction and authority over your space are not enemies. They are siblings. Let me fold in a second story, the delayed awakening. We'll call her Maya. She's talented, conscientious, and exhausted. Her days are a pendulum, seeking approval, fearing judgment, calibrating herself to every room until her own preferences go silent. Online, a stranger's comment wrecks an afternoon. At home, a relative's remark about her career lodges like a fish bone. She tells herself she is just sensitive. The truth is simpler. She built her self-opinion on rented land. Every gust of public weather shakes the house. The turning point comes quietly. A mentor doesn't soothe her. He asks a single question. Whose scoreboard are you using? That question stings. So she writes 2 columns in a plain notebook. One for criteria she can control. Effort, quality, learning, honesty. And another for the crowd's moving target. She commits to evaluating herself by column 1 at day's end. The work is slow and gritty. She feels withdrawal from the drug of applause, but she notices a shift. Criticism still lands, but it no longer decides. Praise still pleases, but it no longer owns. Detached from the audience, she begins to hear a calmer voice. Do the task in front of you as well as you can for reasons you can respect. Her relationships don't become breezy utopias. They become less hostage-taking. And ironically, her work improves. Caring less about approval frees her to do things worth approving. All of this sounds dignified until someone takes a shot at you in public. Here, the Stoic and the strategist agree. Often, the best first response to provocation is no response at all. Silence is not surrender. It is selection. It starves the drama that your critic feeds on, buys you time to gather facts, and denies the scene a second act. Later, if action is needed, act without a tremor, a private conversation with a clear standard, a written summary of agreements, a gate that does not lift when pushed by guilt. If you ever doubt the practical value of this restraint, walk into any negotiation and watch the person who flinches at silence. They give away the price just to fill the air. If your aim is to protect your peace and your leverage, learn to let the air sit. Boundary setting in that light is not the rude cousin of Stoicism. It is its backbone. You train your inner life so you can hold a steady line in outer life. Without that line, your serenity is a hobby at the mercy of other people's hobbies. The simplest boundaries are sentences you speak without heat. I can't take that on. We agreed on X by Y. Let's stay with that. I won't be spoken to that way, happy to continue when we're back on the problem. The power is not in the rhetoric. It's in the unblinking consistency. You don't explain your limits as if on trial. You state them and act accordingly. The ancient lesson is unfancy. Know where you end and others begin. We should pause for a nuance the ancients would have conceded. Your first surge of emotion is not always under deliberate control. Bodies carry history. Hormones spike. Sleep debt bites. The promise of Stoicism is not to prevent adrenaline, but to govern what follows. If your hands shake in the first moments, let them. You are not disqualified from composure because your biology announces itself. In fact, accepting the wave shortens its life. Fighting a storm rarely calms it. Steering through does. Now, gratitude. It is fashionable to reduce it to a mood, but in a Stoic frame, it is a discipline of attention that disrupts anger's momentum. You cannot be sincerely grateful and sincerely furious in the same breath. People hear this and worry that gratitude is an eraser for injustice. It isn't. It is a wedge you place between a spike of rage and a cascade of rash behavior. It is the practice of noticing what remains good and within your power, so you have fuel to act on the parts of the world you can improve. Try it when stuck in traffic and late to a meeting that matters. Inhale and name 3 things you are glad to have. Work worth doing, a body that moves, the chance to apologize and still deliver. You may still be late. You will not arrive brittle, which means you can salvage the day. Criticism deserves its own shelf. Some is petty, some is envy in costume, some is gold. The Stoic move is not thick skin. It is fine filtration. Ask a few calm questions. Who is speaking? What evidence supports this? What can I change that would still be a good idea, even if the critic were unkind? That last question is a jewel. Even poor feedback sometimes points at a real weak seam. Your job is to reinforce the seam, not to reward the messenger. If the feedback is malicious, your better self is demonstrated by the improvement you make anyway. If it is fair, you've gained sight of a blind spot without selling your soul to someone else's opinion. We need one more arc, the credible transformation. I'll give you a composite friend I'll call Quinn, a site superintendent who lived perpetually at the edge of eruption. He had reasons. Contractors who cut corners, suppliers who slipped dates, clients who revised specs on Fridays at 4. He also had a pattern. Every near miss turned into a shouting match that felt heroic and solved little. After a brutal quarter, he tried a small experiment. For 1 month, he practiced 3 rules. First, no replies in heat. Any message written in anger waited until the next morning to be edited and sent. Second, every ambiguous verbal request was captured in a same-day summary that read like a contract without the legalese. Third, he added 1 practice of voluntary discomfort each week: the cold shower, the early run in rain, the skipped elevator for the stairs with a heavy box. These were not macho stunts. They were rehearsals for friction. The result was unspectacular and profound. The volume of his days turned down. He lost fewer hours to fires he had lit himself. And when true injustice showed up, a subcontractor lying about safety, his calm was not passive. It was ice. He assembled evidence, escalated without theater, and got a dangerous crew off the site. His people noticed. So did his blood pressure. The final surprise? He did not feel less. He felt more of what mattered and less of what didn't. You'll notice elements of ancient practice glinting through Quinn's month. The pause between impulse and action. The division between what you can fix and what you cannot. The rehearsal of hardship to make ordinary discomforts light. Some modern readers caricature this as joyless. It isn't. It is joy protected from theft. Pleasure that depends on soft weather is a hostage. Pleasure that can survive a hard day is a home. All the while, the world will keep testing you with one sticky challenge: the need to be right. There is a quiet arrogance in many of us that confuses being correct with being whole. We turn every disagreement into a referendum on our worth. Look at the ruins this creates. Relationships that become courtrooms. Teams that waste hours proving who predicted a problem instead of solving it. The Stoic answer is not capitulation to nonsense. It is a choice about where to spend life. Ask yourself in the middle of a dispute, what would winning buy me and at what price? If the matter is safety, truth, or justice, pay the price and fight well. If the matter is ego's itch, spend nothing. You can say without sarcasm, I see your view, and let the river take the rest. Restraint is not weakness. It is power, saved for the right battle. There is a darker corner we should not ignore: situations of abuse and systemic harm. Stoicism is sometimes misused as a call to endure without protest. That is a misreading. The discipline trains you to respond with clarity, not to tolerate the intolerable. If your boundary is violated, your peace is not proven by silence. It is proven by decisive action that protects your life, your people, and your dignity. Courage and justice are part of the same family as temperance. The point of steadiness is not to stand there. It is to move well. Bring all of this back to the daily, where the real battles are fought. A partner's tone when both of you are tired, a colleague's half-formed criticism, a stranger's horn, your own perfectionism sitting on your chest like a cat that won't move. Build scaffolding you can climb each morning. Oriented simply, it looks like this in practice. Start the day by rehearsing your values in a sentence, not slogans, standards. Be honest, be useful, be steady. Scan your schedule and find the 2 moments most likely to derail you. Decide in advance what a dignified response will look like if they come. Expect them. Expect the wrong email, the messy question, the unearned remark. When each arrives, you are not surprised. You're executing a plan. In the evening, score yourself by your column. 1 criteria: effort, quality, learning, honesty. If you failed, you make a note about what you'll do differently tomorrow. If you succeeded, you do not throw a parade. You enjoy a small gratitude and go to bed. This is the part where the hook I set earlier comes back to you. The single line, the sentence that ends the invitation to be steered from outside, is ordinary and sharp. Their behavior is theirs. My response is mine. Whisper it into your chest when the heat rises. Say it in a meeting while you sip water. Write it on the inside of your wrist if you need to. It is a boundary around your faculty of choice. It doesn't trivialize insult or injury. It returns you to the only door in the room that opens from your side. There's one last motif I want to leave you with, because it binds the entire practice together. Imagine your inner life as a fortress built with windows, not slits. Fortresses are not for hiding. They are for withstanding weather so that work can continue. The walls are your habits, breathing, pausing, naming, choosing. The windows are your compassion, your understanding that other people are not villains in your story, but travelers with their own storms. On the horizon is a ship you sail out every day to do the labor of your life, to parent, to build, to sell, to heal, to learn. When the storm rises, you return to your walls, not to cower, but to refit. When the water calms, you go back out. Over months, you notice you spend less time repairing holes you kicked in your own hull. You spend more time moving cargo that matters. Here's what tends to stick after a season of practice. You find you can move from trigger to task without leaking dignity. You stop expecting other people to behave by a code they never signed, and you start holding your own line without theater. You accept that the first surge of feeling is animal and honest, and you master what comes after. You no longer treat silence as surrender, but as a force multiplier. You learn to separate a stranger's opinion from your self-respect, which means your mornings do not belong to comments typed in the dark. You become harder to bait and easier to live with. You are not less alive. You are harder to rob. When you next cross a difficult threshold into a meeting, a kitchen, a courtroom, a phone call, carry a few simple images with you, the mirror that you polish, so it reflects only what you choose to hold, the fortress with windows strong enough to look out without breaking, the ship you sail repaired quietly, rigged for weather. And that one sentence, the keystone over the doorway. Their behavior is theirs. My response is mine. If you test this in small things, lost keys, late trains, a curt email, you will be ready when the larger waves come. There is a natural continuation to this training, and it is not glamorous. It is the Stoic rehearsal of difficulty in advance, imagining small losses before they arrive, practicing small hardships by design, learning to allocate time as if it were your only non-renewable asset, because it is. In the next chapter, we can walk through negative visualization that does not darken joy, but deepens it, and the architecture of a day that cannot be stolen by other people's urgency. For now, step off this deck with the quiet pride of someone who knows where they end and where the world begins. You are not a puppet of weather. You are a person at the helm, and that is enough to make tomorrow different from today.